Friday Night Live, John Beaudin, Shannon Edwards, hanging out. We're in our bedroom. Shh.
It's really good lighting in here,
We have a big window right here. And we're going to get to our topic in a second, but in all our other houses, our bedroom was always in the back. But now the street's like right there, but we have this great lighting in this situation. What do you think of this?
I kind of like it. I don't know. I kind of like this little prop you put the laptop on.
We've got a little prop thing, which is basically one of those little eating tables / computer tables for your bed.
It works great.
Oh, it's kind of.
Roy says, "Hey guys, hi Roy. Thanks for joining us. We're coming on a little bit earlier.
We're trying this time.
Yes, trying to kind of see what works for everyone and what you sort of prefer." Tammy C, "Hey guys, Kim Trickle.
Hey Kim.
Hi Kim.
Hi Tammy. Hi everybody. Thanks for coming on. We thought we'd have a juicy topic this time. I was going to do this video this week. And then I thought, why don't we just save it for Friday? I mean, everyone is reporting on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this week. And I thought, well, let's just save it. Everyone knows who's getting in. Other people have reported it, even though from now on we're going to try to get on things a little sooner. But I can just move that for you.
No problem.
Oh, you've got a system.
I think I've got a setup here.
Yeah, it's not working.
Not quite.
So I was lying in bed, not wanting to get up and do an interview the other day. And this has come up to me before, and other people have said it. It's like not necessarily brand new, but I thought the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame doesn't care if you're not happy. They know they've got enough people to fill it up. The biggest thing was people are not getting in who are not necessarily rock and roll. Don't get me started, by the way, this year on Sheryl Crow. Like, what the hell? I have a bias because I've never liked her music. Tuesday Night Music Club, the first one, with Kevin Gilbert helping her out. May he rest in peace. Read on that. Sheryl Crow, Kevin Gilbert. Just look up that relationship. That's a doozy. He felt like he helped her he invited her to the Tuesday Night Music Club, which was a thing. The record company weren't too hot on her album, so he said, let's rework it. You come into the Tuesday Night Music Club, we'll help you out. And the consensus with Kevin Gilbert fans, and all I can say is what they're saying, is that basically she left him high and dry. And they dated. They were actually, but that's a whole other thing. And I was going off on a tangent. But my thing is, I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, look at all the negativity. Negativity wins.
Oh yeah, sure does.
If I put up a video on Tommy Shaw a little while ago where Shem Von Schreck said Tommy Shaw is the nicest guy I've ever met in rock and roll. And that was the title of my video. And the video did well, but if I would have had Shem Von Schreck say, Tommy Shaw's the worst guy in the world, it would have had 20,000 more views at the very least. I try not to build negativity, but if someone says something negative to me, I'm going to post it. And I know they always do well, because people like dirt. It's an unfortunate thing, and it makes me feel heavy. And that's one of the reasons sometimes I stop doing videos, because I feel way too heavy with this kind of stuff. Like the Ann Wilson thing, that was heavy with the ex-members not liking her or not thinking she's good in a band. Anyway, having said that, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is probably in a big meeting. I'm just guessing here. I'm speculating that they're going, well, yeah, but if we let this person in, everyone's going to go nuts. And then the people behind the boardroom are probably going, yeah, so you make it sound like that's a bad thing. Negative press.
Melody R. Hey, hi Melody. Michael says, hello from Nevada. Steve, Hall of Fame. Well, this is his opinion. What? Hall of Fame is a total joke. Private club. Shame on them. I'm a Peach One says, hi. John Adams, hi from Connecticut.
Hi.
Metal Reaper, hi all. Tammy C says, yes, a joke. How does Rage Against the Machine get in over Iron Maiden? Don't get me wrong. Rage is great.
Mm-hmm. Well, just to recap, the performers that are getting in this year that were is Kate Bush. I agree with Kate Bush. Sheryl Crow, like I said, I don't know what it is. Sometimes you look at the TV and you see someone and you don't know why you don't like them. You just don't like them. She likes Sheryl Crow as much as I do. But listen, Sheryl Crow's not a bad performer just because I don't like her. Missy Elliott's coming in. A lot of people have a problem with Missy Elliott, but I don't disagree with that. George Michael, you're a huge George Michael fan.
I am.
Willie Nelson, Rage Against the Machine, and the Spinners, the Musical Influence Awards, DJ Cool, Link Ray, Musical Excellence, Shaka Khan, Al Cooper, Bernie Taupin, The Ahmet Erdogan Award, by the way, if people don't realize who he was former head of Atlantic Records, helped a lot of great artists coming in. He used to be he used to run the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame building. But Don Cornelius, of course, of TV, he's in. Now, some folks who are not in, I'm going to run through this. And this is thanks to our friends at Ultimate Classic Rock, who posted one of my stories this week on Mark Farner. It was very nice. They're my favorite site. If I go to get resources, I go to Ultimate Classic Rock. That's my commercial for them. But they know I love them. It's like, okay, really quickly. Warren Zevon was the first snub this year. People didn't like. But these are people who are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bryan Adams, America, Asia, Bachman Turner Overdrive. Yes, it is Bachman. Come on. Bachman sounds better, and he doesn't care if you say Bachman. He doesn't care. People say Bachman all the time. But it doesn't mean that's his last name. His last name is Bachman. Bad Company. I've asked him. I interviewed the guy 3 times. Badfinger, Blind Faith, Blue Oyster Cult, Boston, Canned Heat. Oh, how do I get rid of this thing? Do you know how to do it? Oh, you're good. Thank you. Canned Heat, Joe Cocker, Phil Collins, Spencer Davis Group, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Really? They're not in. Brian Eno, John Fogerty, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Jay Giles Band, Grand Funk, Guess Who, Sammy Hagar, Don Henley, NXS, Iron Maiden, James Addiction, Jethro Tull, Kansas, Kim Crimson, Huey Lewis and the News, Manfred Mann, Dave Matthews, Monkees, Motley Crue, Nazareth, Harry Nilsson, Ozzy Osbourne, Robert Plant, Iggy Pop, Procol Harum, Rainbow, REO Speedwagon. I put Red Speedwagon, spell check. Joe Satriani, Scorpion, Soundgarden, Steppenwolf, Stone Temple Pilots, Styx, Supertramp, Thin Lizzy, Toto, Three Dog Night, Uriah Heep, Joe Walsh, Roger Waters, Edgar and Johnny Winter, and Steve Winwood. Woo! I need to have a nap. Woo! Anyway, you go ahead.
Let's see here. Rick May, greetings from Ohio. Hi,
hey, Rick.
Is turning into the Crock and Roll Hall of Fame. Hit that like
button. They want
folks.
You to be mad because when you're mad, right? You talk to other people. Everyone's saying, what do people say more than who got in? Unless you're a fan of one of those artists who got in. People are mad at the people who didn't get in every year. And don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with the R&B and the black performers. I don't disagree with that. Because, rock and roll, look up where rock and roll came from. And you'll understand, but some artists that are being overlooked because, and they're going to be dead. Look at Badfinger. Oh, that's the wind. I thought it was kids.
No.
Look at Badfinger. There's only one person left. And a lot of bands, that's the case.
WNP 67. Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hey.
Precy, I'm overjoyed that Bernie Talking got in. Sergeant Wegg, hello from Collingwood. Hi.
Hey, man.
WMP says, not only non-rock artists, but look what happened with Duran Duran. Look what 40 years when artists are supposed to be eligible 20 years after their first album. It's
a difficult situation. Mm-hmm. All the people, I didn't read off all the folks that Ultimate Classic Rock put in. They put in a great list. This site does so much great research. So I just put a cherry picks through some of them. So if you go into Ultimate Classic Rock, wait till after the broadcast, of course. You'll see a complete list of all the people. Some of them I didn't agree with, but that's okay. Because well, Willie Nelson, see, I look at that, it's like the Dolly Parton thing, right? But they want you to get mad because then you'll talk. Then you'll tell people. Then you'll complain. Then you'll come on my website or any website talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and most of the comments are always negative. Look at any, not only our video channel, any video channel that talks about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, look at the comments. The majority of them are negative. And Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is going, yes, sirree.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Tammy C, it took 19 years after Rush was eligible to get in.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you look at bands that... My biggest thing is some of these people, you have to be more discerning because some of these artists are going to be dead. Like America, Dewey Bunnell's still there, Jerry Beckley, but Dan Peake's dead. I know Dan hasn't been in the band since, 77 or something, but he's still,
Elaine says, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, largely irrelevant. Every time they announce, they get so much free publicity.
Yeah, a lot of free publicity because of the anger. They know what they're doing. Now, again, I'm not saying some of these artists don't belong to get in there, but I'm saying they don't care. They're kind of hoping you get mad. So they're always going to throw in, who was it? I have this quote from Todd Rundgren, and who was it? This is all the pictures we took. Oh, hold on. Is this it? I'm going to read it to you. You read the comments there, Shannon.
Ronnie says the great Steve Marriott and Humble Pie should be in. Hello, guys.
Oh, here it is. Rundgren slammed the rock and roll fan vote. They're not honest and with fans about what power they have, he said. The fans have practically no power to influence who gets into the hall. This is October 29th, 2021.
Wow.
Are we all caught up?
No, not at all. Melody R. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has succeeded in losing my interest. It's not Rock and Roll, it's Entertainment Hall of Fame, says
it's the Money Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the other thing. They want to... when Steve Miller talked a few years ago on record backstage after he'd gotten in, basically saying it's ridiculous how much they're charging us for a seat, and you're getting inducted for the band. It's insane.
Well, Michael says, no offense, but the list of people who did not get in is better, in my opinion, than those people who did get in.
Some of them, yeah. Some of them. When I got that revelation, it's not the deepest thing in the world. I went, oh my God, they're hoping you get mad. They want you to get mad. Right? So there might have been a decision a long time ago. I mean, really, there should have been Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the country category or something, or a subcategory at the very least, but they probably thought, why would we do that? People might be happy with that.
Sherry Sugar says, the artists inducted don't bother me. I do think public voting is becoming a disadvantage as years of eligibility go up, as artists who are older don't have the same advantage as more popular ones.
Yeah. I hate to see what's going to happen in 10 years. I'd like to see what happened in 10 years because I want to be around in 10 years. But it struck me so hard. I went, every year the comments are all negative. And every year they're racking in more money.
Laura says, I feel they wait way too long to induct them.
Yeah. Well, look at the list that I read, and I'll read it off again for people who are just joining us. It's hot up here.
Yeah. Rick says, the Sex Pistols make it into the hall on the strength of one album. Been scratching my head ever since.
Well, the other thing with a band like Boston, for instance, right, is Boston really only has 2 great albums. Some of their other albums are good, but they're not great. And should they be in? But those 2 great albums, even Don't Look Back, the second one, were highly influential to a lot of people. Huge. And so sometimes there's the Sex Pistols, that was a lane that I never went. I never went down that lane or that genre. They didn't interest me whatsoever. But I get it. I understand it. But
March Burchette. Hi, Mark. Hi,
hey, Mark.
Shannon, John. The Hall of Shame should call it the Music Hall of Fame, not rock and roll.
Yeah. No, when I thought of that the other day, there was a part of me that, I always defended them. I was always a defender of what they were doing and going. I can understand though. It's the influence. It's this but. I mean, look at Elvis. Look at how he was so influenced by black music, like totally so. A lot of the black community really loved him. Some didn't, but he got a lot of that from that R&B and all the different genres that eventually made up rock and roll. So I understand that, but if you're going to do that, why don't you just go look at those artists that influenced the '50s rockers and get them in more than in, if you want to do that. But
Greg Parker, that Hall of Shame will never change, and whoever follows it will always be disappointed. It's made up of people that have no clue about music and their resume. People will argue and disagree forever.
Yeah, which sells, which gives them publicity, and it'll never end. And this year, I wasn't disappointed that much this year, but let me just go back to my original list here. And someone was telling me the other day they don't think a band like Supertramp, for instance, will ever get in. I don't know if you guys know Sass Jordan. I was just interviewing Sass Jordan today. She had some inroads in the U.S. She's great. Taylor Hawking His first major professional gig was drumming with Sass, who played with a Canadian band called The Box before she became a solo artist. But Sass told me today, she said, I don't know if I should tell you this. I went, what? She's a great interview, just a great gal, one of my favorite interviews of all time. And she said, I used to hate Supertramp. I went, what? She says, when they were big, I hated Supertramp. I went, and she said, but you know what? She said, I don't know if we want to include this in the interview. But she said, I really love them now. I said, no, we'll include it. Why wouldn't we include it? You love them now. It's all good. It's a happy ending or whatever. But we talked about the fact that you either like something or you don't. You've heard me say this. We've said this a lot on the show.
And it's crazy how things change over time. You might not be able to really stand one genre of music or a band. And as you get older, you're like, hey, man, I'm kind of sitting into this now. I'm enjoying it. I mean, that's happened to me a few times, too, where I'm listening to stuff I wouldn't have listened to before.
Yeah, I love rock and roll. Remember, I told you guys this before. I told Sass Jordan this today. I said, I know. I didn't know I only had half an hour, so at the end, she went, "Oh my God, I'm out of time. I want to talk to you again." I love rock and roll. There was a test, for songs that you didn't like, but eventually people did like. That was the biggest song of a tune that when people heard it originally, they hated it, but then they slowly changed their mind. Of all the songs they changed their minds about, they changed their minds about that song the most. And I still don't like that song. I've never liked that song. But where do you start?
Yes. People are just talking to each other here. Fred P says, Kansas and Jethro Tull not on the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Boston, Foreigner, what the? Maybe we need our own Hall of Fame and let the current so-called Rock and Roll Hall of Fame keep Dolly Parton, Sex Pistols, etc.
Good idea. Never happened. But like Foreigner, my God, Foreigner's not in the Hall of Fame.
Right?
What the heck?
Crazy.
Luke Graham went through an awful lot. That he went through, and when I talked to him for almost, I think, 2 hours. It was a great interview. We had fun. We laughed a lot. But he, I don't know how healthy Lou is. And I'm just speculating, but I'm going, he went through a lot. It's hard on the body.
Mark says 25 years is eligible, not inducted.
Yeah.
And Prezi says 1970, 1971, Elton and Bernie had 4 albums out in the charts at the same time. Bernie needed to be in years ago.
Well, Bernie, back then they were releasing, it was common for them in the early days to release like 2-3 albums a year. And then it started slowing down by the time Honky Chateau came out. Well, look, they had Don't Shoot Me and Goodbye back to back. It was crazy, but then he started slowing down. After that, then Caribou came out. And then, let me see, I got my, Captain Fantastic. And then Rock of the Westies and Blue Moves. But that was, there was a lot of albums right beside each other.
Silverado Man says, Bad Company is still not in. What the heck?
They're not in. Again, I'll read the list, Sandy. Just get your ducks in order for when you have. Warren Zevon was the biggest disappointment from this year. Everyone's talking about the fact that Warren Zevon didn't get in. And he's long dead. Brian Adams, America, Asia, Backman Turner Overdrive, Bad Company, Badfinger, Blind Faith, Blue Oyster Cult, Boston, Canned Heat, Joe Cocker, Phil Collins, Spencer Davis Group, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brian Eno, John Fogerty, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Jay Giles Band, Grand Funk, Guess Who, Sammy Hagar, Don Henley, In Excess, Iron Maiden, Jane's Addiction, Jethro Tull, Kansas, King Crimson, Huey Lewis and the News, Manfred Mann, Dave Matthews, Monkees, Motley Crue, Nazareth, Harry Nilsson, Ozzy Osbourne, Robert Plant, Iggy Pop, Procol Harum, Rainbow, REO Speedwagon, Joe Satriani, I lost my place, Scorpions, Soundgarden, Steppenwolf, Stone Temple Pilots, Styx, Supertramp, Thin Lizzy, Toto, Three Dog Night, Uriah Heep, Joe Walsh, Roger Waters, Edgar and Johnny Winter, and Steve Winwood. There you go. Not in. Duh.
Fender says Boston deserves a recognition as well as Alan Parsons.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to put that on the list. Alan Parsons, really good one. Thank you.
Christopher Cruz adds in, I agree that Supertramp should be in there. I love Take the Long Way Home.
Alan Parsons, put that on. And feel free to Alan Pardon, spell check.
Alan says Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is geared towards pleasing rap artists and whatever else is out there, just as long as it isn't Caucasian rock bands. Well,
everyone has a hard time with the rap part of it, And as I've gotten older, I've gotten to like rap more. And like the poppy rap that first came out, which really wasn't the rap because diehard stuff didn't sound like that. But the mainstream audiences weren't ready for that. But as I've gotten older, I've appreciated it a lot more. But the consensus is always, a lot of rap. They're going. I don't consider that rock and roll at all. Building steps to rock and roll with an urban sound. I can understand that, no problem. But anyway, are you caught up?
No, Rick May. Not a whole lot of prog rock bands in the hall. Another head scratcher.
No. Yeah, they don't like. Well, King Crimson. Speaking of prog, one of the ultimate prog bands that are not in. But I don't think they've had so many different members. It'd be a long list. But a lot of these bands have had a lot of members, right? When Yes got in, people were just going, okay, this is in. I asked Justin Hayward this week about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He said, very cool, very happy about it. It's a nice stamp, but he can understand some people having problems with it.
Irene Brophy. Hey, hi, Irene.
Hi, Irene.
Phil Collins?
Yeah, Phil Collins. Certainly had enough hits as a solo artist. Very influential, and as a drummer, played with a lot of people. As diverse as Brand X. In the beginning, he really helped them.
Toto was with all their members collaborating with the business.
Oh.
With the business is a crime.
And when people say, "Oh, Toto, what are you talking about?" I'm talking to Steve Lukather on Friday next week. But the amount of playing those players did, really, when I talked to Louis Shelton, we were talking about this. Because Louis played the super chat. Hey, thanks, Mark.
Hey, thank you so much, Mark.
Appreciate that. Thank you. When you get so many people that were like Louis Shelton, the Boss Skaggs, Lowdown guitar solo, Monkeys, Last Train to Clarksville. And he knows his stuff. He's part of the Wrecking Crew. But he said when you really look at the amount of playing that they did, but Luke will always tell you they don't like us. They just don't like us there. Rolling Stone didn't like us. They don't like us.
Spacey says the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame needs to do a mass induction for all the aging artists acts that are still with us.
Yeah, but then people would be happy, and they might not like. People won't talk about it. Right. Negativity. Just they're going. Oh, they don't like what we did. Oh, look at that. They're all going to talk at the water cooler, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will be the major topic, and it usually is. There's a few years I haven't even reported on it. I didn't report on it this year. I just decided, what's the consensus? I thought. What's the consensus of me talking about how can I capsulize how I feel about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And then it hit me. They love the negativity. They love it.
Sherry says if they expanded to other different decades, genres inducted, then more wouldn't have to wait 20 years to get in. Well, we are about to hit the 2,000 artists and people who will really be mad when that happens.
Yeah, that's true, eh? Just a couple of years away. Yeah, that's really going to change things. See, that's the other end of it. Thank you for pointing that out. The other end of it of going, now that it gets even more stacked, going through that bottleneck of who's going to get in.
Tony says, strange. I thought Iron Maiden got in, then it changed.
Well, everyone was saying for a while that they didn't like metal either, but they didn't like prog, they didn't like metal, but I think I'm not going to say it's an evil scheme, but they're just eating it up going, oh, well, there you go. Let them talk.
Zuma Show said Soundgarden is not in. They were nominated this year, but didn't get voted to be inducted.
Well, the people who did get in this year in the performers category, Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow, Missy Elliott, George Michael, Willie Nelson, Rage Against the Machine, The Spinners, DJ Cool, Link Ray in the Musical Influence Award, Musical Excellent, Shaka Khan, Al Cooper, Bernie Taupin, well deserved. Emmett Erdogan, as I mentioned a while ago, he was the founder and president of, co-founder of Atlantic Records, and Don Cornelius, a famous TV host, of course, is getting in.
VTV Classics, the legendary Gordon Lightfoot should be considered R.I.P.
Yeah, it's so strange that name has never come up because he was so influential. And as I've said, when Gordon died, we did a live broadcast in this very room. By the way, we have that Gordon Lightfoot interview up if anyone wants to see it on this channel. Steve Burgess, who's an amazing award-winning writer, a great photographer, Used to be like my best friend in the world. I saw, like, when I met Shannon, Steve was like my guy. We would hang around together every day.
I was surprised at the clarity of that interview.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Well, it had to be... everyone knows that when you digitize reel-to-reels, especially if they're the back matted, type, they have to be baked in a food dehydrator. And I had to bake that one 24 hours, let it set for, I think the first time 24 hours. And then it still sounded muffled, and I looked it up, and I went, oh, you can do it again. So I baked it for another 24 hours and let it set for 12 hours. Still wasn't great. Then I baked it for another, I think, 4 to 6 hours, and then it sounded perfect. And then we destroyed the tape, and we've got it digitized and saved in 5 different places.
Christopher, are the Ventures and or the Shadows in there? They need some instrumental rock acts in the mix.
Yeah, I don't know. They might be. Does anybody know? Let us know about that. I'm going to make a master list, too, of people. We should have that always at hand of the acts that are in. Sometimes I forget who's gotten in and who hasn't. So, please press the like button, folks. Appreciate it. If you like what we're doing, if you like our channel, sometimes people are leery when I do an obituary. They don't want to press the like button because they don't like the fact that someone died. I'm going, no, you like the fact that we're reporting it. Like we're here talking about it. And, that's what we do. So, what do you got, Shan?
Let's see here.
We have to cherry pick sometimes.
Tony says, I should be in there at some point. I innovated mouth guitar on Guitar Sounds a cappella with my voice with no music or instruments in background. We're performing in Minnesota State Fair.
Oh, Tony Del Monte.
In August. Good.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Tony. I got to look you up.
Mark says, Judas Priest's place was a joke, except it got KK Downing and Les Banks back with the band for a few songs.
Mm-hmm.
David Shaw, do you know anything about the TV show that Geddy Lee will be involved in?
No, they're saying he's involved in it. When I talked to Andy Curran, I didn't ask him about it. He mentioned it, but then I got sidetracked because Andy Curran used to be the A&R guy, and he's with Coney Hatch, the rock band, and then was not necessarily a suit because I can't see Andy wearing a suit, but we have that series running on our Canadian channel. Just look up Rock History Canada. There's a few of the clips here concerning Russ that we put on this channel. So he said that he's very busy, and Andy, by the way, is the guy who said that if they get together, it'll be the 50th anniversary next year. They'll commemorate it with something if they do. But he said that Alex Lifeson is enjoying retirement, and Geddy's busy with the book and the TV show. So I don't know what that show will be.
Carol says if they would just call it the Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Issue solved.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete. Hey, guys. How's everyone?
Is it Pete?
How'd the move go? Hi, Pete.
Hey.
We were just talking about you today, saying, John says I should reach out to Pete.
Yeah.
And say hi.
One of my good buddies from Moncton.
Yes.
Lives in Riverview. Really nice guy. Pete, we miss you.
Fender says, what about Asia? They have enough arguments to be considered.
They came in big, and then there was a different version of Asia, right, with John Payne. They're on the list, and I included them on my list of people that I think should get in.
Steve Harold, Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah, definitely. And Mark Farner, who I just talked to a few weeks ago, said that he said, well, if we get in, and I would think they'd get in on the first ballot, I would like to play with, Mel and Don Brewer. So Mel Shacker and Don Brewer. But hopefully that would happen. They're not on good terms. And there's a video I just put out today, if you look on our channel, of what would it take for, they didn't ask him, but what would it take for Mark Farner to get back into Grand Funk? And every time I talk to him, I've talked to him 5 times now, we talk about the same things, mostly. We talked about Janis Joplin a lot, Led Zeppelin a lot, the British Invasion a lot in this one. There's an amazing story on Frank Zappa coming up, and a really cool one with Todd Rundgren coming up on that series. If you're a member of our Patreon, you'll have access to it now, all the stuff.
Silverado Man 61, the Partridge Family, LOL, just kidding.
Thank you, though.
Mark Burchette, please hit the likes. It helps the algorithm, and it's free.
It really does.
Yes, please. We so appreciate that. Rick May, maybe Warren Zevon had it right. Send lawyers, guns, and money.
Yeah.
The blank has hit the fan.
Dun, 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 dun. Lawyers, guns, and money. Yeah. Excitable Boy, if you listen to the lyrics of Excitable Boy, the title song to that album, Werewolves of London was on that one. It's just morbid, man. It's like it's like this guy's messed up. Not Warren, well, maybe Warren. But Warren Zevon was a devil-may-care type of guy. You know, I remember buying the Envoy and just thinking, this guy's just brilliant. Like, just a great, you know, and now we have Spotify if you want to get to know Warren Zevon. Not that you couldn't before, but it cost you a lot before. You can just go through and you'll be amazed by him. Too bad he's gone.
Lawrence Alberts, the Ventures are in, the Shadows are not. Hank Marvin of the Shadows is one of the most influential guitarists in UK history. The first Strat hero over there. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I talked to Randy Bachman, he and Neil Young were going to go see the Shadows. And he had just come back or was going to see the Shadows. And then when I talked to Randy the third time, just a few months ago here, or it was in Moncton, when we lived in Moncton, I said, whatever happened? I explained the story to him. Oh, yeah, you and Neil Young were going overseas to see the Shadows. He said, well, Neil Young never came with me because Randy said something happened with his son. Is his son not autistic or in the spectrum, or he's got something going on? Pardon my ignorance, I forgot, because there's only so much I could fit in here.
Sherry Sugar says, the only one that shocked me a bit was Sheryl Crow. I thought Ozzy Phil or at least Foreigner might be inducted, or even In Excess, but we will see. Still hoping the Monkees can get in.
Sheryl Crow was just, I was just pissed off. I'm going, what? Sheryl Crow? Not that she hasn't had hits. Plus, you know, for whatever reason, I've never liked the girl.
Zuma chimes in. Problem with the Monkees being inducted, they weren't really a band. Studio musicians played all their songs.
Well, later on, they became, yeah.
Pete says, hey, LOL, miss you guys too.
Thanks, Pete. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, we were in the car today. We were just talking about you going, oh, man.
Swisted Chef, you guys covered this before, and frankly, you guys know that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is political, so just sit back and let it go. There is no justice.
Yeah, I'm going to turn off my email. Sorry about that, guys.
Fender says, any chance with Christopher Cross?
Oh, I wouldn't think so. And nothing against Christopher Cross, because I love Christopher Cross. I don't think so. Too bad, though.
BDS says, the Hall of Fame is definitely trying to me off by not inducting Foreigner. The biggest snub of all. I fear they will get in after
really
Mick
are.
or Lou pass away, and that would be a tragedy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying a while ago. The fact that what if Lou wasn't around? How could you? And Mick is not doing, you know, he doesn't go on stage. The reason that Mark Foreigner told us, the faux Foreigner, he says, not the fake Foreigner, is because a lot of times Mick's not there because of his health. So there's not one original member of Foreigner on stage a lot of the times. So hurry for Mick's sake or for Lou's sake. So there you go.
Steve says, I'm sorry, but it's not Grand Funk without Foreigner.
Yeah, no funk, no Foreigner. No Foreigner, no funk.
What about Swisted Chest said, what about Barclay James Harvest?
Someone was, who was I talking to? I think it was Caleb Quay, who I'm talking to again this week. Because, oh, by the way, Caleb Quay, the Louder Than Rock is on YouTube for free. But he was talking about them. And we'll cover that again. But yeah, his documentary is on for free right now. Just look up Louder Than Rock. And I think it's about an hour, and it's such a good, if you like Elton John, if you like great guitarists, because Caleb was one of the greatest guitarists on the planet. Like Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck. There's quotes of them talking about Caleb.
Steve Harold says, April Wine, hell yes.
Yeah, but they won't, because most of their success was in Canada. And April Wine, as most of you know, is my favorite Canadian band. Miles Goodwin was just inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame the other night. And just one of the most talented guys that this country's ever had. Totally underrated in spite of all the success he's had here. But I mean, they had a hit with "You Could Have Been a Lady," which was a hot chocolate song in the early '70s, and then nothing really happened till "Roller." And then Roller came in, and then they started making inroads when Nature of the Beast a few albums later came out. That album did really well in the U.S., and Just Between You and Me was their big hit there. But, I love April Wine so much.
Lion Eye says, Toto's members have been on so many songs and have lots of albums on their own. Their exclusion baffles me. Also Foreigner and INXS.
Yeah, INXS is another one that was on that list. How could INXS not be on? And they're one of the biggest bands in Australian history. But Need You Tonight. Oh, love that song.
Frank says, on the Monkees note, even if they didn't play their own instruments, there are many groups in the Hall of Fame that fall into that category. The Four Tops, the Temptations, etc. So,
yeah, it's kind of, I think they should be in. And there's, Mickey Dolenz is the only person left. It's kind of sad. But that's the way it is. But there's a lot. No, not the New Monkees. Remember that show? That didn't last very long. But a lot of people would want to fill in.
Silverado Man. What about Casey and the Sunshine Band? Hey, don't laugh. They had hits.
They had a lot of hits. Yeah. Definitely. They were all over the 70s.
Eric says, hey, guys. Hi, Eric. How are you doing?
Hey, Eric.
Melody R. Is AC/DC in on it?
Yeah, they're in.
Eric says, I have been really digging Crown Lands lately. Have you thought about interviewing them?
Crown Lands?
Yeah.
I don't know who they are. I'll have to look them up. I like... Sorry, Shem. I like Rival Sons a lot. I love Rival Sons. I also like, sort of a Go-Go's band, The Beaches. Look up The Beaches. They're just fun. They're just fun, great type players. They're not the greatest in the world, but they're a great band. They put out good music, and I love their guitarist. I love their drummer.
Rick says, hate to think the reason Sheryl Crow made it into the Hall was due to her duet with Kid Rock. Yikes.
Oh, God. Oh, we used to play that song all the time at the radio station. All the time. Yeah, but it's not,
Tracy said Devo has been denied the most.
Yeah, Devo is a big... That comes up on all the lists all the time. Are we not men?
Fender says Dire Straits is a flawless act.
Yeah, Dire Straits is a great band. Great. I just love Dire Straits. And a lot of people didn't like Communique, the second album. I just loved it. I didn't like it as much as the first album. Some people think it's better than the first album. It isn't. Well, it isn't to me.
Sonia Flower says, hey, you two, we were out grocery shopping. Oh, cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she emailed me today about talking to Link Ray's daughter about his getting in. Yeah.
Twisted Chef, April 1 should be punished because they are fabulous Canadians from fabulous Canada.
Should be punished? It says punished.
Oh, should be inducted?
Inducted, I think.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with you right now, but maybe that's a Freudian slip, so I don't know.
Forget INXS, Little River Band should be in.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Yes, let me put them on the list.
Bruce Oyster Cult 38 Special.
The Oyster Cult's in the list, yeah.
Yep. Karen Dinsmore. Hey, Karen. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Carl Palmer is the last surviving member. Yeah. They were phenomenal.
And he just went into the hospital with heart problems, but he's going to continue. Little River Band. I got to put them in.
Angie says Three Dog Night.
They're on the list, yeah. They're not on. They're on my list. They should get in,
yeah. Twisted Chef said, want to have beach band? Pablo Cruz.
Oh, Pablo. I don't think they'll ever get in. I've interviewed the whole band. I don't usually interview, as you guys know, whole bands because there's always someone hanging around not talking. Usually, there's 4 people just hanging out, not talking. So that's why I interview people separately. Oh my God, Klaatu. Not for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I just realized I interviewed all 3 of them, and I completely forgot about that interview. I got to get it
up. Terry Simpson, Joe Jackson, or Elvis Costello?
Joe Jackson, yeah. Very diverse musician. I like when he got into the night and day stuff. I love that phase of his music. And then he got into jazz, and it's just so much different things. Soundtrack, remember Mike's Murder? That was a great soundtrack. Little known.
A1B says Big Star deserves to get in.
Big Star always gets on all the lists. All the time.
Badfinger too.
Badfinger, we mentioned them a while ago. Yeah, only one member left.
Christopher says Jerry Rafferty, if not as a solo artist, at least as a member of the
Steelers Wheel. Yeah, not that well known though. Stuck in the Middle with You that's the standout, and he had, Baker Street of course was so big and influential, right? Kind of, some people say it brought back the sax. Well, I don't know if it brought it back, but that was a hell of a sax intro.
Mark says Molly Hatchet.
Yeah, I'm flirting with disaster, y'all.
Tony's asking, Bob Geldof is already in, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Floyd the Barber. Hey, Floyd.
Hey, Floyd.
They didn't have a lot of hits, but Badfinger and the Raspberries were big influences.
Badfinger always makes the list, and so do the Raspberries. Mm-hmm. Eric Herman's gotten back with the guys a few times through the years. Go All the Way was such a great song. What an iconic rock and pop single. Just da-da-da.
Todd says, surprised Judas Priest not in. Or the Guess Who, the first concert I went to at the old Paramount Theater in Portland.
I just talked to Derek, the new lead singer, and Gary Peterson, the original, the drummer for the Guess Who the whole time, last week. Yeah, and a great interview. So we're going to be chopping that up in the next little while. We're going to be chopping them up in the next little while. Chopping that interview up.
I have my glasses on.
Hold on. Gus Dudgeon. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Why is it so small?
I know, sorry.
Pressy. Shannon, read this to John.
Yeah.
Gus Dudgeon and Paul Buckmaster both need to be in. Nigel, Dee, Davey, Caleb, Roger. Neil, there's a case. So, nothing against Neil Giraldo. There's that little dog. Look at you, so cute. Nothing, but what happened there? So, he's her husband, and he's her bandmate, but he's really the background guy as far as a solo artist. So why does he get in? I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be in, but if you're going to open up that door, like I remember going, what, Neil Giraldo, what the heck? Like he's produced other people too, and but I'm going, then if he's in, why isn't Nigel Olsen in, Dee Murray and Davey Johnston? Why is Caleb Quaye not in? Because he was such a big part of the early Elton John. So, we're going to let band members in now. So why is Neil Giraldo in? Even though now they're billing themselves Pat Benatar, Neil Giraldo. But wait a minute, you can't change the rules. Elton John could easily have Elton John and Nigel Olsen. He's not going to do that in a million years, but that one really, I didn't understand that one. Didn't get it.
Twisted Chef, love your show and how you always answer. Fantastic. Most do not do that. Well, we want to include everyone. I know I've got to kind of skim through and go through, to keep up with comments, but we think it's great to have your feedback.
And in the next couple of months, right, we're going to start doing more of these where when news is breaking, I just won't come on by myself because I'd rather concentrate on the news that's breaking. And also while Shannon's reading, because we're doing this on the fly, as you know, obviously it's live. As she's reading the comments, I'll always try to get updates on the story, so we'll both come on at the same time. And I'll be wearing my black t-shirt, because that's what I wear.
Because that's your signature.
Yeah.
It's black.
Well, a little bit.
Although, remember last week it was Hawaiian night, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Derek from the Guess Who was looking at me, couldn't stop talking about my shirt and going, but I'm known for my bright shirts. And then I went, well, yeah, I've been wearing a lot of black lately.
So many bright shirts in the closet, so
right
many.
Over there.
Oh my God.
That's the door.
John says, I know Toto was never made it in there with literally 100 reasons why they should be there. My favorite 5 songs by them weren't even hits.
Well, what are your favorite songs? I'm kind of curious.
Flavinator, why call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when so much rock and roll is left out? Another genres are admitted.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like they came up with they've changed the goalposts. Yeah. That's what they're doing. They came up with this and then they got all adventurous, and but they want you to be mad. They don't mind it because, like I said, 5 people will talk to 5 different people in the water cooler for something negative because people like to bitch. It's the way we are. It's the way we're wired. As I've said before, I could put in a positive story, and this guy is such a nice guy, and I'll get like 600 hits. And if I say this is the worst bastard you've ever known in rock and roll, it'll get 1 million hits. It'll get 1 million hits. So, but you got to be able to sleep at night. You don't want to be known as that guy. And I know I've posted some of these kind of things when band members said, I don't like this person. Most of the time I'll put it up because they said it, and if they're not going to tell me, they're going to tell someone else, and I know they'll do well. But if I only did those kind of videos, it'd be hard. And some people who do this kind of stuff, that's all they do is try to raise crap, and they don't interview anybody.
Steve Harold, hey, since it's pretty much turned into the Popular Music Hall of Fame, might as well include the Bay City Rollers.
Well, they were really popular.
Right? Actually,
if you're going to do that, the Bay City Rollers were a phenomenon. They were. I like the Bay City Rollers. My friends used to laugh at me. I used to have the bass, that big rock wall. Is it still on here? Hold on. You might be able to see where I had it on. And it's funny. So,
Floyd the Barber says Wings should be in as a band.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. Here it is. So this is my wall from New Brunswick, which is now here in Calgary. I brought it with me.
And in our garage.
It's in our garage. But if you look at the bottom where it says Rock History Music there, underneath status quo, as we say in North America, there's Led Zeppelin. You can't see it, but you will when I put it all together here in our house. The Bay City Rollers, full disclosure, used to be there instead of. So there you go. And then I ran out of room, and I went, oh my God, I gotta. Oh God. So that was my wall I did in high school. So I always have it on standby because I use it as my green screen background sometimes, which I haven't used it. I haven't used a green screen since I've been in Calgary.
A long time. Sonia, Pat Benatar demanded that her husband, to put her husband in with her. Can you imagine what that would do to a marriage couple for one not to get in?
No, but I know. But if they're going to do that, because he's a part of her band, even though it doesn't matter what they had, what deal they had, their husband and wife, he's a member of her band. That changed the goalposts. When he got in, I'm sure it probably happened before. So then, oh my God, why aren't other members of bands in it? You have to be a backup band for a solo artist. She's a solo artist, and he got in. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve to get in. He's a very gifted musician, but it changed everything. What the hell? And that's why they started doing she probably started feeling like, I don't know why they did that. If he said, well, you're getting all the credit, or she said, I shouldn't be getting all the credit. Your name should be on the thing. But I mean, the majority of people don't know who he is unless you know her music. And there's nothing, I have nothing against the guy. Like I said, he's very talented. But they just changed the goalposts again by doing that, changed the rules. So where's Billy Joel's backup band? Where is Neil Diamond's backup band? Dennis St. John, great drummer, Hot August Night. Look at the beginning. Listen to the beginning of Hot August Night when Dennis St. John starts coming in with the big drums. Boom, yeah. Boom. Remember that? I always play that for you. What about all those Elton John's band? All those solo artists. What about the backup bands? And that shouldn't be different. And that shouldn't be different than a group. Just because you're backing up a solo artist, that's another thing that just drives me nuts.
Surfer Boy, hey from Boston. Hey, what are you doing? You're early this week, LOL.
Well, we're trying out this time.
Yes, we thought we'd bump it back an hour. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, but a lot of times we're running here. But Shannon went out of her way and said, no, we're going to do it at 5. We're going to do it at 5. It's 5 Mountain. We're on Mountain Time. Yeah. We're in Calgary. So we're going to try this. And like I said, in the future, we're going to come on. If it's in the date, well, in this room, this is a good room for it because the lighting's good because there's a window right there. Nice big window right here. This is our bedroom. This is our king size bed over here.
Let's see here. Kevin L. Tears for Fears.
Oh, Tears for Fears! Yeah. What a great! Oh,
right?
God! That's a great one. Okay, I gotta put that down. Thank you very much for that one.
Mark says Hendrix was the first inductee for actual rock and roll and downhill from him.
Yeah.
Rick May, no, it's not going to happen, but I'd like to see Donald Fagen. Steely.
As a solo artist, though, I mean, that's the problem with outside the Nightfly, which was a big album for me. I could just listen to that album forever. I loved it so much. Outside of that, he wasn't the solo artist. People mentioned Robert Plant. Robert Plant's solo career wasn't that huge, but he's Robert Plant, right? And then him and Jimmy got together, and but he's Robert Plant, you know, and he was a successful solo artist.
Dwayne, hello everyone. Sorry to hear about Gordon Lightfoot's passing away. Mm-hmm. I saw him live in Edmonton in 2010, front row center. I met him and his band after the show.
Oh wow,
nice.
What was his drummer? Was it Barry Keane? What was his drummer's name? I liked his drummer. Yeah, and check out that interview. If you look up, if you just go after this broadcast, because we're gonna end at the top. We're actually at the top now. There's a whole interview that Steve Burgess, the guy who gave me a lot of his interviews, well, all of his interviews, he did that interview with Gordon Lightfoot right after Gordon got into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame by Junos, and he talked to him right after that. Now, actually, we have a whole bunch of clips of him talking to Gordon, where he's holding the microphone and all the press is there backstage at the Junos in 1987.
Fraser J. Hey guys, I'm late to the party. Well, glad you joined us. Hope you're all keeping well.
Well, yeah, because we usually start the party now.
Right. Yeah, right at 6. Dwayne said, I'd say that Guess Who belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Definitely. Yeah. And they wouldn't put Burton Cummings in, even though Canadian-wide, Burton Cummings is a national treasure. Like he's just, he's like Randy Bachman, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Bruce Cockburn, Murray McLaughlin, Leonard Cohen. There's just so many of them. Anne Murray.
Surfer Boy, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a joke. It's corporate. It needs to change its name to but as they were saying, the Music Hall of Fame.
Should be the Music Hall of Fame.
They also need to include Gordon Lightfoot and BTO.
Yeah. BTO they were. I remember in the 70s, they were just the biggest thing. I remember Bruce Allen, their manager, saying BTO is a great band now, but then he started working with Loverboy. But he says Loverboy's forever or something like. I'm paraphrasing it, but I remember going, what? But Loverboy did so well.
John was commenting as a few of the Toto songs he likes.
Yes.
Common. If it's the last night, Coming Home, Leah, Stay Away, Just Can't Get to You.
Leah at Coming Home is a great song. Love those album tracks, It's ridiculous that Toto's not in, though. It's just ridiculous.
Hey, Troy. Hi, Troy. Our buddy Troy. Can't believe this is the first time I'm joining you both here. Well done, Shannon John. Thanks.
Guys, Troy Haas, H-A, is it W?
E-S, yes.
Please check out his channel. Troy does guitar tutorials. So please do me a favor. Look up Troy Haas, H-A-W-E-S. He's got a great channel. For the ladies who are watching, Troy's a damn good-looking guy. Troy, you know it. I'm just saying it because it's true.
And very talented, too.
He's a damn good-looking guy. One of my best buddies. But I'm not just saying that because I love the man. But I'm just... What was that? Yeah. That was weird. That was us. That was just us. Some things just popped up, and I went, what is that? Oh, no, it's the Russians. They're after us. But Troy Haas, H-A-W-E-S, great. Subscribe to his channel. He's done incredibly well. He puts so much work into his guitar tutorials. There's your plug, and I wanted to do. I've given him some plugs before, and I remember the ladies. He's a good-looking guy.
TJ, hi Shannon John from Olympia, Washington.
Hey man. Troy was supposed to come last night, but Shannon was under the weather, so come over last night.
Darren says, when is John Beaudin going to be inducted in the Canadian Broadcast Hall of Fame?
Never going to happen. 40 years though. 40 years. But I've done a lot of this YouTube stuff. I've done a better job doing YouTube than I did, even though I'm on the air every night in Vancouver, which is a major, major market. I am very proud of that. I've worked for the station since 1990, and that's rare. But my good work, and nothing against what I do on the radio, but my best work is here. I'm more proud of what I do on YouTube, and I've worked harder on YouTube than anything else I've ever done. And you start, for anyone who thinks they can't reinvent themselves, what was I, 55 when I started doing this? You know, I think 54, maybe a little younger. And then I thought, and I didn't want to go on. I was telling Sass Jordan that today. I was saying, because she said, "What's your story and stuff?" Because she's checking us out, and I told her that. And I said, "Well, I look like a boot. My wife looks great."
No, but even when you went on from the start of first doing videos and then to where you are now, it's like just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Before
you can get better at it. For anyone who thinks they can't reinvent, the sad thing is when the in some certain parts of U.S. and Canada, when they ask students what they want to be, they say influencer. And that makes me sad because I'm going, well, someone has to do the other jobs. Someone has to. I want a dentist. They get paid well. That's an honorable job.
Zuma says Robert Plant didn't deserve to be inducted based on his solo career.
Well, it's very arguable, yeah. But he's also Robert Plant, so...
Preezy says, what about Bruce Springsteen's backing band? Are they in?
Oh my God. There you go. So why is Neil Giraldo in? And again, I'm not picking on him, but they changed the rules there. I was going to do a whole video on it, but I didn't want to do a thing and just point out that poor guy because he's such a talented musician, and he was a big part of that wheel the whole time, that machine. But then if you're going to do that, but then they've already inducted him. They've already inducted Billy Joel. But they're going to go back with the backup bands now, and they're not the main names, so people will lose interest. And it's sad, but that's the way it works. The normal Joe Lunchbucket, Evelyn, everybody will say, well, who's Nigel Olsson? Unless you're Elton John fan. Unless you're a drummer. Unless you know music in general, you'll know who Nigel Olsson is. I know Nigel Olsson. He's one of my favorite. The king of less is more on drums. Listen to his fills and listen to the fills of Roger Pope when Roger played with Elton, or a lot of the other drummers. When they invented stuff, not just followed what Nigel was doing. Way more complicated. But Nigel, in the long run, ended up being the perfect drummer for Elton John. He just was. And he's a good guy, too. He's a nice man.
Clark Craig, howdy from Kingston, Ontario.
Kingston, Ontario. I haven't been there in a while. When's the last time we went?
A long time.
Yeah, a long time.
Daryl Jones, is Neil Diamond in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Sonia Flat. Hey, remember to click the thumbs up. Yes,
thank
please.
You.
Remember to click the like button. It's just does
It's
wonders.
just a little button.
Right?
You just kind of press it.
It's not scary.
You lift it, and you press it. We got to wrap things up.
We do.
Good lighting.
Really good lighting.
I don't look like a troll right now. You always look good.
Thanks.
And you smell good, too.
Any last things you want to say to wrap it up? One guy says, what about Tom Cochrane and Red Rider?
Too Canadian. Life is a Highway might have been the big leagues, or I don't know how many hits he had. John Cody, our buddy John Cody, just put up a picture of him and Tom's. I think they're I think they split up. I don't know if they're divorced, but he's always been. And John toured with he's on the Life is a Highway album, and he toured with them for that. John's one of my favorite Canadian artists, and no one knows who he is, which is sad. If you look up John Cody. And look up, not the country guy, the other guy. And just let me know next time we're on. Look up John Cody, C-O-D-Y. And check out his music. I am in love with this man's music. Just underrated. Went through so many medical things in the last while. But he is just a treasure. And I loved him for a long time. Then one of my friends tracked him down, rather. And she told John, she said, I have a friend, a DJ guy from Vancouver. He is your biggest fan. He just loves you. And John reached out to me and said, hey man, I hear you like my music. I don't hear that a lot. And anyway, John Cody, check him out. Thank you for indulging us.
Thank you, everyone. Always a pleasure to hang out with you on a Friday night.
You know what we're doing now? We got to go to the mall and get Nespresso, what do you call them? Tubes,
coffee.
Things and a jiggy.
And maybe a trip to Costco.
And maybe we'll see George Clooney there because he likes Nespresso. Not really, no. Okay. Love you guys. Love you guys.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for the donations. And anytime you support the channel, the links are always in the description. Join our Patreon. We've got a whole bunch of stuff on there. The entire Mark, all the clips for Mark Farner, we just put them on. They're all finished now. They're all on there. We're doing, well, Sass Jordan's going to come on. We've got Moody Blues, Justin Hayward's coming on. Oh my God, I've interviewed so many people in the can. So we're going to put all those on there. Join our Patreon. Thank you. Links in the description.
Bye. Have a nice night.
Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Bye.